I saw the devil. The killer thought pain was punishment. He didn't realize it was preparing him to suffer longer. Kim Soo-hyeon is a secret agent in South Korea. His life is structured, disciplined, controlled. He believes violence can be contained if the system applies it. Then his fiancée is found murdered on a dark roadside. Her body lies in the grass, exposed and discarded. The crime feels fast, casual, finished. Kim believes justice will be fast too. Find the man, arrest him, let the system handle it. Instead, he finds Jang Kyung-chul himself. He breaks his bones, he brutally injures him, implants a tracking device inside his body, and then he lets him go, again and again. Kyung-chul stumbles through the city, blood soaking into his clothes. Every sound makes him turn. Sleep disappears, confidence collapses. And this is where punishment becomes design. The tracker isn't there to end him. It's there to schedule his suffering. Now the control shifts. Kyung-chul isn't escaping. He's being released on schedule. The revenge becomes psychological erosion. The killer turns into prey. There is no finish line. That's what makes it disturbing. Justice dissolves into fixation. By the time he understands the rules, there's no way out. There was never an exit. The next revenge begins when survival turns into planning. I spit on your grave. They thought survival meant silence. They didn't realize silence was preparation. Jennifer Hills is a writer who retreats to a remote lakeside cabin. She's alone, isolated, convinced distance equals safety. She's wrong. Men watch her. They circle slowly, testing limits. Their confidence grows because nothing stops them. Then they attack. Dragged through the woods, thrown to the ground, left bleeding by the riverbank. They walk away laughing, certain she won't come back. She does. Jennifer heals quietly, watching and remembering routines. She doesn't confront them, she studies them. And this is where survival becomes structure. She stops reliving the attack. She starts designing the response.
Please.
Please is what I said to you.
Now the power reverses. She invites them into spaces she controls. Johnny wakes up tied to the rafters of an abandoned house. His body hangs, helpless. Jennifer steps closer, pliers, teeth pulled out one by one. Then the shears. She mutilates him. He bleeds out, slowly. Stanley steps into the woods. A bear trap snaps shut around his leg. He collapses, screaming. Jennifer ties him to a tree. Hooks force his eyes open. Fish guts cover his face. Wings beat overhead. The crows descend. Andy wakes up in a bathtub, bound, unable to move. The water is still, then it burns. Lye eats through skin. His face dissolves as he screams. There is no escape. Storch sits restrained. Matthew lies unconscious nearby. A shotgun is positioned, connected, waiting. Matthew wakes, moves, the trigger pulls. The blast tears through Storch and into Matthew. Fear sharpens instead of breaking her. And sometimes the house is ready long before the killers arrive. You're next. The killers chose the wrong house. They chose the wrong woman inside it. Aaron arrives at a family reunion that feels tense but harmless. Awkward conversations, forced smiles. Then the first arrow crashes through the window. Glass explodes. Screams overlap. Masked figures surround the house. The family panics immediately. They run, hide, freeze. Mistakes pile up fast. Aaron doesn't. She scans exits, barricades doors. Her breathing slows while everyone else spirals. She starts turning objects into weapons. And this is where the equation flips. They planned a massacre. She prepared for one. Now the balance breaks. She lays traps, anticipates movements. Each attacker hesitates longer than the last. One slips, another misjudges distance. That's enough. Masks start coming off. Confidence disappears. That's why this revenge works. Preparation replaces panic. Once fear changes sides, the ending is locked in. They never stood a chance. But some traps don't rely on fear, they rely on politeness. Get out. They never planned to let him leave. He was already part of the process. Chris visits his girlfriend's family estate, greeted with smiles and compliments. Too many compliments, too much politeness. Conversations feel rehearsed. Guests stare without blinking. Workers move like they're following instructions. The house doesn't feel hostile. It feels curated, and this is where politeness reveals its function. This isn't discomfort, it's infrastructure. Now the truth surfaces. Chris is hypnotized and dropped into the sunken place. He watches his body from a distance, unable to control it. He's auctioned, evaluated, sold. He escapes by stuffing cotton in his ears, breaking the hypnosis manually. The violence that follows isn't chaotic, it's desperate and direct. One by one, the family falls. That's why the revenge hits so hard. Politeness stops working and manipulation fails instantly. When control depends on silence, resistance becomes lethal. Compliance was never safety. And the next revenge shows what happens when power is treated like currency. Hostile Part 2. They paid for power. They assumed payment made them untouchable. Beth is traveling through Europe, carefree and unaware. She's kidnapped in Slovakia and stripped of her identity, reduced to inventory in a clean, transactional facility. People don't scream here for pleasure, they scream because someone bought the right. Beth survives by endurance, not strength. She watches how the system works, who commands it, who profits. And this is where morality becomes irrelevant. The system doesn't recognize innocence, it recognizes payment. Now the roles reverse. Beth becomes the client. She walks through the facility without resistance. She selects her captor calmly, no hesitation, no emotion. He's restrained in the chair the same way victims were before him. Power completely reversed. She tells him exactly what's about to happen, then she kills him deliberately. The system doesn't collapse through chaos, it collapses the second agency returns. But sometimes grief doesn't calculate, it detonates. Mandy. They took the wrong woman from the wrong man. They mistook grief for weakness. Red Miller lives quietly in isolation, anchored by Mandy. She's his stability, his center. When a cult invades their home, they burn her alive in front of him. They leave laughing, convinced he's finished. He isn't. Red collapses, drinks himself hollow. He forges a large battle axe in his friend's workshop. Heavy, brutal, unrefined. And this is where grief stops collapsing inward. It turns outward. It demands movement. Now the hunt begins. Red tracks the cult members one by one through the forest. The black skulls surround him in the forest, and he fights back. Chains rattle. A blade flashes. He strikes one of the bikers repeatedly with his axe until he collapses. Another cultist attacks him in a bathroom. Red drives the blade straight into his neck. Inside the chapel, Red confronts the leader. He forces Jeremiah's head against the floor until it is crushed. Bodies fall one by one. No one is spared. No one is negotiated with. That's what makes it terrifying. This isn't justice reclaiming balance, it's grief turning into annihilation. Grief doesn't seek balance, it seeks erasure. Nothing survives that kind of focus. And the next revenge turns desire itself into a liability. Jennifer's body. They wanted her body. They never asked what it would cost. Jennifer is popular, desired, watched everywhere she goes. The band Low Shoulder takes her in their van to an abandoned house. They hold her in place. They stab her as part of a ritual sacrifice. They chant. They expect a virgin sacrifice. They're wrong. Jennifer doesn't die. She comes back changed. Her body heals faster than it should. Her hunger doesn't. She starts choosing boys who want her most. The ones who stare too long, who follow her home, who think attention is permission. She lures them away from crowds, abandoned houses, empty pools, forests at night. She kisses them first, Then the teeth come out, skin tears, blood spills, her victims struggle, then go still. One boy is later found mutilated, another never comes back. The town notices, but no one connects the pattern. And this is where empowerment reveals its cost. The hunger doesn't free her, it consumes her. Jennifer weakens when the hunger returns. The hunger doesn't empower her, it isolates her. The system that created her survives. The boys die. Jennifer deteriorates. This isn't revenge healing trauma, it's exploitation finishing its work. And the last revenge doesn't transform violence, it terminates it. The last house on the left. They brought violence into the wrong home. They assumed kindness meant weakness. Mary is assaulted, shot, and left in a lake, broken, bleeding, barely breathing. Her attackers flee, panicked and desperate to hide. Their car breaks down during a storm, and they seek shelter at a nearby house. They don't know it belongs to her parents. The parents take them in. The parents allow them to stay the night during the storm. They listen. They watch. The parents begin to suspect something is wrong. Mary reaches the house alive and collapses inside, barely conscious, enough to confirm the truth. And this is where grief hardens into function. They stop reacting as parents. They start responding as executioners. Francis enters the main house and finds Mari. John and Emma attack him together. A violent struggle. Brutal. A hammer comes down. Francis is beaten to death inside the house. No chase, no spectacle, just impact. Sadie wakes as John confronts her. John shoots her in the neck, wounding her. She runs into the bathroom. John and Justin force their way in. Sadie fights back with the shower curtain rod. Emma fires. The bullet strikes Sadie through the eye. She collapses in the bathroom. Krug escapes into the house. He stabs Justin in a rage. John and Emma overpower him together. Krug is knocked unconscious. Later, John returns alone. Krug has been paralyzed from the neck down. John forces his head into a modified microwave to run with the door open. He turns it on. John walks away. Krug's head explodes from the heat. This isn't chaos, it's containment. The parents don't shout. They don't hesitate. They eliminate threats one by one. That's what makes it final. Violence meant to terrorize is repurposed into termination. The threat doesn't continue.